Yo, what's good? It's your boy Young House. We got a direct WHCR 90.3 FM, late night New York. And right now, I got my dude Lazarus, the top don,
Salute, my
in the
guy.
building, straight out the South Bronx. You know, we getting together, man. You know what I mean? We had some miscommunication at the beginning, but you know what I mean? He's here now.
I'm here.
He's abandoned his word. That's all. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing. We're gonna go ahead and get to the work. So now, you know, yo, you got a heavy history in this hip hop game, bro.
Yes.
You've been doing your thing for a lot of years. Like
Yes.
me, when I first heard about you, I see you battle
Mm-hmm.
with Cypher City.
Correct.
I forget who you. I don't know. It was Maury Hayes. It might have been Maury Hayes. I forget.
Nah, Maury, my brother.
Was it Maury?
Wasn't
Yeah.
Maury. Me and him from the same.
I was on the same bill.
We was on the same card. I
Yeah.
forgot who it was, but it was somebody.
It was a minute ago.
It was a
I
minute ago.
remember. It was like, okay, dude, nasty.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
And then after that, then it just went from there. I just started paying attention after that. But you got history way before that.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't know you tapped in with the Terror Squad.
Yeah, salute, yeah.
You know, but a lot of people don't know you come from humble beginnings because you got family that's been in the industry as well. So
Correct.
let's get into those humble beginnings first, man.
First off, salute, and I want to thank you for having me here. Shout out to the channel and to all the people that's out there that don't know me. I go by Lazarus, the top don. For me, this is something that comes from destiny and the royal bloodline. It comes from my lineage. Both of my family and my uncles have streets renamed after them. A lot of people ask me, they don't know that I'm Cuban. Besides being Puerto Rican, more Cuban than Rican. I be trying to tell them moms is dark skinned Afro Latina, but sometimes they just don't hear it. I don't know. It's like a light skin thing. I be laughing. So, when I got picked up on this, I embedded the pickup because in front of Taino Towers, my first uncle has a street named after him, Alfredo Almentro's Chocolate.
Oh, wow, okay.
All right, and he was part of the band with my other uncle, which is Arsenio Rodriguez, which is renamed around the corner from Big Pun's Piece. For people that don't know that, so right where Big Pun's Piece is at, not on Fordham. Talking about the original one on Dawson and Kelly Street. All right, right on Dawson. Thank you. Right in the heart of South Bronx, right next to where my brother got his store, the High Flicks at. Right on the corner on Dawson, in front of Kelly Park, is Arsenio Rodriguez way, and that is my uncle. And he was making music. All right, before Jackie Robinson, the color barrier, before hip hop was created. All right, they were actually lynching people because of their skin color, and he came here from Cuba to the Tropicana nightclub and had Afro-Congo sounds and hip hop infused with drumming and different sounds of music. So that's where my lineage comes from.
That's a heavy lineage, brother.
Correct.
Do you feel any pressure?
No. Unlike other people, it feels amazing to me. On my album, y'all will see me have remixed 2 of his songs that he was famous for. One in the Guinness World Book of Records, which stands for Mi Gente de Bronx, which means my people of the Bronx. So I remixed that, and then he has another one called Kiko Medina, which is my grandfather's actual name, Kiko Medina. And basically what I started doing was I started taking everything that I have and contacting my family and telling them, listen, I'm going to be the one to re-announce his music in a different form and shape, and all the proceedings that I get will go to them. Shout out to Fluff Jones and everybody on the live and the check-in. I appreciate y'all.
All right, okay. That's heavy. So now I was like, okay, you have that come about.
Correct.
So, we all have a story about what first made us fall in love with hip hop.
Yes.
So what's your story?
Mine's, I'm not gonna lie to you, was the systematic wordplay. All right, because I used to be around a lot of my other friends, and they would battle rap and just rap in the hallway. And I was just sitting there, and I remember when I was sitting there, and I'm like, I could do that. And they're like, what you mean you could do that? You never even told us nothing or tried nothing. So shout out to my brother A. Perk, the General, all the way out in Connecticut. That's my big brother. We sat in the hallway. I never forget. We was in Simpson Street, and he like, yo, let me hear something. And I'm like, give me 5 minutes. And I get back to you. This is the first time I ever kicked something. So it took less than 5 minutes. It took like 3 minutes. You know what I mean? And then I responded to him. He was like, nah, that couldn't have been you, son. You know what I mean? That was fire. There was no way that could have been you. How did you do that? And then I just started, in my mind, started making the similes. And what I mean by the similes is I started seeing the rhymes ahead of time. So when I started seeing the rhymes ahead of time, he was like, yo, let's go record your first song. So by the time I knew it, I was already 13, I recorded my first song. And by the time I was 14, I was already battle rapping and going to other people's blocks and stuff like that. Walking around with a boombox, like ready to battle, didn't even matter. So that's what let me know that I was really ready for it.
You're a hip hop dude for real.
Yeah, I'm a hip hop dude for real. Away from that, at 15, I went to my first summer jam, and I performed that summer jam. They even made me battle a girl. I won some vocal time, and then I had won a chance to something called We Gon' Make It, don't make it, they send me out to Atlanta, and I had wound up winning a record deal in Atlanta or whatever. But when I read the deal, I went and got some, professional people, lawyers and stuff. It wasn't in my best interest. Even though it was a good offer that I won, sometimes people offer you things that's not in your best interest. So it wasn't in my best interest. So then from there, I got linked up with, shout out to my brother, Success Tone, the Gorilla Tone.
Hold on, stop.
Go ahead.
See, let's talk about the contract type.
All right, go ahead. I'll tell you about the contract, no problem.
Most kids that age don't have the common sense of wherewithal to say, yo, let me take this to somebody.
Correct.
And find out what's going on.
Correct. I was lucky. I had, shout out to my uncle. My uncle works, for the Johnny Cochran law firm.
Okay.
And, I was lucky. He didn't do entertainment law. Yeah, rest in peace, Johnny. But he had a friend. And he introduced me to the friend, and the friend overlooked over the contract for me and told me, nah, this wasn't right.
So you had good, solid people?
I had good, solid people around me. Like, I didn't have to worry. Like, he charged me like a couple of dollars for the retainer. It wasn't even nothing serious. So I felt it was better to pay the retainer and learn everything. Because legally, people don't realize once you sign something, you're committed to something. And then they own stuff. And I'm one dude, if you know about me, I own everything I do. Everybody on this live, everybody that make music, we can tell you, Laz own everything he do, from the beats to the lyrics to ghostwriting for others to probably I made the chorus. I mean, I'm just like that. That's a pet peeve of mine.
Now, for all the up and coming artists,
yes,
listening to this right now and watching this,
yes,
what's describing the power of ownership?
The power of ownership is basically like life. Life should be something simple. Simplicity is best. Remember, if someone else has the ownership and right to your music, they can delegate and basically navigate what you do with your music and your curriculums and where you could go. So I'm one of those. I don't know about y'all, but I still live like I was in high school. I really like people telling me what to do. Well, I'm gonna have a bunch of people telling me what to do if they haven't invested into my craft or invested into me as an artist or open up a window of opportunity. It's different once you open up a window of opportunity. So that's how it is for me.
All right, dope, man. Because nowadays, it's like, even now you have a lot of artists who complain about streaming, right?
Correct.
And how most artists feel that Spotify is great for the consumer, but for the artist, it's like you're getting less than pennies off the dollar.
0.19 from Spotify. Correct.
So for those artists who are trying to circumvent that, what do you recommend?
Stop giving your friends the music for free. Stop sending them an email when your friend tells you, yo, I'm feeling your new record and all that. Stop sending it to him and telling them, oh, I'm gonna send it to you because you're my mans in them. You're not my mans in them. You're not my peoples, because at the end of the day, people support people. And this is what winds up happening. People forget what's the fair trade system, the border trade system. People seem to forget what happens in big business. If I was a Jewish rapper, for a prime example, right, there would probably be another Jewish rapper that bought it and then spent out to everyone else and never asked me once, hi, how do I purchase the music? When people really want to see you elevate, they'll purchase your music. A lot of people, we fail to do this as Black and Hispanics and Latinos, in the music industry. We don't big up and support one another. And then by not supporting one another, what happens is we start complaining about the white folk and the white man and the Jewish. But if you look at Master P, who's one of my most favorite artists in the world, business-wise, he started and circumvented out and started doing business with the Jews before we thought about it. And if you notice, all his records have won either double platinum, and while people were doubting him, he came out of the South.
75 million records.
Thank you. And this is what I'm saying. And this is when we were using the trunk of the car. You didn't have the digital streaming services that you had now. So the one thing that I do want to say is make sure that you invest into yourself. You invest into basically knowing how Spotify works. What's these curriculums? Become friends with these curators. Get on these playlists. So that way your music can circumvent and start to go to where it needs to go.
So you know what? You answer like my next 2 or 3 questions, bro.
That's fine. You can still ask anything you want. That's why we here.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's dope because it's kind of like, artists from New York.
Correct.
A lot of people look at this like we had the most talent.
Correct.
But, business savvy, we like 5 steps behind everybody else.
Well, it has shifted. We used to be the central mecca of music. Now we're not. And the reason why it's Atlanta now, and the reason why, I'm gonna tell you why. Everybody thinks it's because of the talent or people are better or whatever it is. It wasn't that. I'm gonna tell you what happened. They look at the infrastructure of the game and capitalize on the mistakes that we made. All right? They seen that New York had it for a long time. They said, how can we take it from the level of New York owning it to bringing it somewhere new and make it the mecca? The first thing they did was eliminate ego. Second thing they eliminated was not paying the artists. If you notice, you go to Atlanta, you pay the artists all the time. I don't care if it's even from showcases, even from just having, a small little raffle. They offer you something. So most people are like children. People are tangible. They want something that they can own, feel, and touch.
That's a fact.
So when you're giving them something they can own, feel, and touch, it just changes the dynamic of their way of thinking. They don't feel like they're getting played. So because they don't feel like they're getting played, they want to be more supportive towards it.
Bro, I can't tell you how many artists I know from up here who go down there.
Correct.
It's like night and day. It's like they end up staying down.
Correct. I'm not mad at it. Most of this shift turn, they learned it from Tupac. You know what I mean? From Pac being from Harlem and then going, to California and switching everything else and being able to change on coast. But nobody ever stopped and looked at to themselves and say, why did he have to change coast? Why was it that he had to go and do that? Because we weren't accepting to him and we weren't gravitating towards the actual skills that we have now.
You can use 50 Cent.
50's another. But 50
Nicki
actually,
also.
it's funny, Nicki Minaj and 50 almost the same, but if you look at 50, I respect 50. Shout out to Curtis, one of my personal friends. I even friends with him on Facebook. Worked for him, done many things. My brother's even bodyguarded for him. He's a great individual, but it's very business savvy. Very business savvy, away from being a stand-up guy. And when I say that, it's knowing, basically your time and presence. If you notice, he noticed his time in New York. I don't care what nobody sits here and say. They always be like, 50 not going to be the same as that. He knew his time. He knew his run. He knew how much money, how to accumulate, and then change that and centerfold it into television and give you what you're looking for. So how can you be mad at somebody like that? I would still jump on a record with him right now. Literally. And I know a lot of people that won't, but I would. Because I know where to aim and target, and I know what to do. Like they would say, Queens get the money. That's one thing I do give the props on. Queens get the money. I'm a Bronx dude, and I get a lot of love from Queens. I got a lot of friends in Queens. Shout out to Cormega, shout out to Capadonna, Half the Woo. I know a lot of different people from over there. Rest in peace. Of course. Shout out to Cormega. His album is dope right now. Me and him are both on a new magazine right now called Hip Hop Breath right now, From Here to France. And it's in French. You see, so sometimes you got to be able to branch out so you can get to different avenues. That's why I tell you that. I even hit him up recently so I could tell him, listen, you're a legend, but it's time for me and you to put some paint in on wax.
Facts.
That's how it is with me.
And you know what I respect about Cormega also? He was like one of the first artists from New York to show dudes up here how to do it independently.
Correct. And he's still doing that now.
And he's still doing it
to this day.
And he has a cult following.
Of course. Want to shout out him. Want to shout out him, of course, Nas, the same thing. You know what I mean? Want to shout out my brother, the infamous Amadeus, of course, my manager, Universal Queen Nena. These are all people that are just around, that are self-independent, sufficient, and look from far and know how to put input in at the right time.
So, let's go to my next question.
Of course.
I'm going all over the place.
Go ahead, you can.
So, I'm taking Nas as one of your inspirations. Cause if you can't be an artist from our era in New York City and say Nas to inspire you. So besides Nas,
of course,
who else inspired you?
Of course, you got Coogee Rap, you got Big Daddy Kane, you got Jay-Z, of course, he's gonna be there. Jadakiss, Biggie, Tupac, and then of course I'm probably gonna throw people off with this, but MF Doom.
Okay.
Of course, I'm definitely a Doom fan. Away from Doom, if I was to take it away, I gotta take it to the 18th letter. You gotta give it to the law. You know what I'm saying? Respect them very, very much. Then if I'm going somewhere else, I'm gonna say Coke La Rock, the father MC of hip hop.
Okay.
All right.
You understand your history.
Exactly. Then away from that,
shout out to my Uncle Rodney C.
To Rodney C as well too. Now it's funny, I just did a show at Rodney C's at the Black Falcon. Shout out to him and all that. When you know the core group of people that started hip hop, and then of course I'm gonna name you, Melly Mel, Master Cash, the foundation. So I grew up on that real rap, and then if you ask me, my favorite artist is Big Pun, and it's not, and I don't just say that because I'm Latino or none of that, but because I am what you call a systematic lyrical person, and this is a man that knew tremendous words and studied the encyclopedia and could put rhymes and different double entendres together when other people didn't notice. Shout out my brother Coast TDS, I see you in Later, you already know. If y'all don't want some dope graffiti, make sure y'all tap into them. That's
that goes to my next question.
Of course.
The Terror Squad affiliation.
Okay, the Terror Squad affiliation, shout out. So that affiliation wound up coming in, I say like around 2016. I got down with Angel Cartagena. Shout out to him, Money Man. For those that don't know, he is the original founder and creator of Terror Squad. All right, he wound up having a separate crew called the House of Representatives with the Mighty Door. They had gave me an assignment while I was in Gorilla Tone, Success Clothing's original clothing shop, and I was able to capitalize that, which is a song made by Thor featuring me and Big Pun. And then from there, it's all love for them. I still with them for like 3-4 years. But but I felt like sometimes people don't see your full potential and don't know how great you are. Sometimes people have to get into that. So I wound up learning the business, and then when I wound up learning the business, I decided to go and create my own record label and my own publishing and finish out what I had with them. Now, still to this day, we're still friends. It's still all love. I just have my own vision. Now, it doesn't mean I won't go do music or write with them. They have separate artists and doing stuff, but it's like before I give up a percentage of what I do, because I'm different from a lot of other artists, I'm usually the artist that writes for others. You know, so it's hard to give up everything you have in a creative perspective while still trying to please everyone. So I decided I'd rather keep my friendship and my family than, you know, suffocate it with business.
I definitely understand. Shout out to Side Money, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Side Money, my brother too, and Kill All Rats, everybody there from Miami to Pistol to everybody. Catch me. I will be doing that BX challenge later tonight.
Man, listen. That going to my next step.
Yes.
Man, every time we see you, you all over the place, bro.
Yes.
Like literally, like you know what I mean? Like you like a hip hop, you're a hip hop hustler. You definitely a hip hop hustler.
Thank you.
So I know it's how everybody from the old school guys rock with you to the young guys they rock with you. So you know, I noticed there's a lot of artists, especially young artists, that you know kind of come to your doorstep. And,
correct.
They're with you. So how are you able to cultivate those relationships and basically be the bridge between the old school guys and you know the young guys that's coming up right now?
Well, it started happening, I say about 2 years ago when I started to say, well, the Bronx is on my back. You know, I wound up winning Hot 97, the best bars in the Bronx. I was in a, you know, different rhyme cipher, basically with Hattie Rags, Dice, a bunch of other different people, and these are all my brothers that I love and respect and do things. But I've learned once it comes to being a master of ceremony, we're no longer friends. I'm coming to destroy whatever it is that I have and rip your head off. Then I started doing songs with other legends and people that other people were afraid of, and I would put them in a coffin. So my friend would come and he'd be like, yo, you just put that guy in the coffin, and like I just seen him write his best 32 and you just came here and just did that on your own. He made me laugh. He started calling me Randy Orton, the legend killer. And I was telling him, nah, I won't do that because I respect all the legends. What happens is, this is what you call a battle of the original Knights of the Round Table. You have to sharpen your steel and sharpen steel. If you can't sharpen yourself and be able to make it within that arena, then you're not a master of ceremony.
That's a fact.
Then I separated myself. I started telling people, I'm not a rapper. A rapper is just somebody that's coming to rap and kick a few lines and entertain. No, I'm following the culture, captivity, giving you what it's about. Shout out to my brother Crazy Legs. You know what I mean? I'm just the overall all essence, and then I do something that I see a lot of rappers don't do, and that is subject orientation. And what I mean by subject orientation, shout out to my producer, Cover, you know, Umbrella Studios and all that. We have something called the cover training. And the cover training, my brother, is something that you come in where he says, oh, you think you hot, right? I'm gonna give you one of the hottest beats. Now, mind you, this changes everything because when the producer is on every platform, we're talking about Hot 97, Power 105, people are naming him, other people are getting beats from him. You know, the pressure becomes a little bit on, you understand? And then he comes in and says, well, jump into the booth. And, you know, I have a subject, and I want to see you go straight through that like we were back on the 2-track. So you got to flow through everything all the way through. You understand? No stopping, no punches, no none of that. And not a chance for you to have your pen and paper or your phone because he's taking that away from you. So it showed me even more, even though I already knew I had what we call a vivid mind and what we call a reproductive memory and visual memory, and basically something that a lot of people don't have, which is basically outstanding memory. I started realizing that and saying, okay, it's photographic for me and I can remember everything. So now that I can remember everything, let's test that. So he started to test that. I started to go into the booth, and by the time I knew it, I wound up having 136 songs, man.
Wow.
So, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then it's just about, ill chemistry and just about breaking it down and knowing what goes into what. Because people forget, not every song that you're going to do goes for every category.
And shout out to Cover too, man, because he's linked in with like
everybody.
Artist uptown.
Yeah, everybody. You might as well say that. You're next. I'm not even gonna lie. I should see you there. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it is. If you don't have something with him, it's probably because maybe you don't know him, or maybe something didn't drop. But I tell people all the time, just hit me up. I'm like almost like his promoter. I promote people to go to him, to listen to his albums, to have him album listen to you, or to have a critique listening session.
Remember, he's very accessible.
He's very accessible. And my thing is, you have to know this. You can't be great unless you're gonna listen to the masters.
Yo, man, listen. Now let's get deep into the music now.
Of course, let's do so.
The current single.
The current single right now is me and Dice Peso. It's called Knock It Off.
Shout out to Dice Peso.
Shout out to Dice Peso. That was produced by Cover.
TV a couple times.
You already know. Shout out to Paparazzi TV as well.
Before we continue, you now listen to WCR 90.3 FM, late night New York. You know, with your boy King Haas and be live and direct with Lazaris the Top Don. Of course, I got plug in the station. Carry on.
Shout out. So what happens is you know, I kind of came to cover. You know what I mean? And so cover, like, I know Dice for years. You know what I mean? Seen everything on the come up. I said, listen, I really need something.
And shout out to him, man, because he got out the mud.
Yes. Shout out to my brother Dice. He got out the mud. All the boss bread, all of them, they got it out the mud. You know what I mean? I remember when I was the promoter, you know what I'm saying? And it was on the opposite side, and then I was doing the bookings and bringing people through. And I appreciate it. Sometimes when you look out for people, that relationship, that bond stays and carries because people don't forget what you have done. So when he asked me, he said, yo, listen, you want to do this? I need this for this ticket. I said, that's not a problem. Sometimes you can't be afraid to drop a ticket and invest in yourself.
That's a fact. So let's talk about, of course, cover producer track.
Yes, cover producer track. I wanted that on purpose. We have the same beat maker. I wanted him to have his flowers. You know, I actually got cover on records, on songs, unlike other people. Freestyles that we've been on Shade 4-5, all that people like, yo, I heard you on the record with cover. On my first album, it's called Success in My Path. I got a song on there. It's called Short Shot.
So this single, is it gonna be on the next?
This is gonna be on my next album. I'm glad you asked that. The name of my next album is called The Life of a Dawn. All right, and the reason why is because I really come from a Dawn. Like my family is Dawn Arsenio Rodriguez, Dawn Chocolate, so I'm Dawn Lazaris. So all I'm doing is fusing myself along with my family heritage and giving them the story of a South Bronx kid that was underground legend.
That's dope. So before we go out of here,
let's get
into the single, I need you to go ahead and I need you to tell all the up and coming artists, entrepreneurs in general.
Okay.
You know, the inspiration.
Okay. Shout out to Pretty to Go. One of my friends there and partners and do things. You see, it's what I tell you. You never know you're gonna walk in somewhere and who you're gonna run into. One of the things that basically I guess I want to tell the artists, the first is basically make sure you have your business together. Make sure that you have a marketing plan. Make sure that you have a budget. The last thing I'm gonna tell you is gonna be something that's truthful but hurtful. Make sure that you are around people that actually believe in you and want to see you win. Sometimes people are like golden gooses and just want to see a golden egg laid from an opportunity from you and are not really there for your best interest.
Facts. This industry is shady.
Yes.
Always understand who you're dealing with. Always have good people around you. Always be aware who you're dealing with. And always do your research before you step into anything.
All the time.
Once again, we get into the single, but before you get into the single, tell where they can find you at.
Of course.
Get all the merch, everything that
they want to do. All right, so, you know, shout out to everybody. Y'all could, you know, basically follow me on Instagram at Lazaris the Top Don. That's Lazaris, the word duh. No ebonics, but rest in peace to Big L, TOPDON straight. If not, go to my website, www.topdonempire.com. Log on, you can see my sneakers, my merch. If not, you can hit up my manager, Universal Queen and our management. We're always accessible and available, and we're always down for the public.
So, we're going to get into it. It's the single, Lazaris the Top Don. Dice Peso,
Knock It Off.
New York, Knock It Off, WCR 90.3 FM. Let's get it. We out. Appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you for having me on,
Let's
brother.
get it. Yeah.